Welcome everyone to the 182nd weekly MLP Drawing School thingy-ma-flob-flob.
God, 200 keeps getting closer. I don't know if I'm ready.
We need to plan a big party.
Party.
We'll get
Today
everyone to submit their arts.
we got Ally Claw
Hello.
and Fluffy's Eye.
Hello!
And oh yeah, that's it.
And we have a living dead.
Lies.
You're the most zombiest of zombies.
Brains. Yeah, so let's just kick this right off because that's what we're here to do. So
Arts and things.
arts and things. So first up on the list, we are going to do that top left-hand corner. Whoop.
Teeny
This-
little corner.
Teeny, enhance even more. Okay. Yep.
Enhancing.
So this one is by Ferret is God. No, Ferret is God? Ferret is God.
As in the one that does the walking?
I don't know what Ferret is.
Of Pokemon.
R-E-T. Yes! That is their icon. It is a Ferret.
Perfect.
So Ferret is God. I'm bored at this point, and I made this in Dream Maker. I don't know what Dream Maker is. What is Dream?
I think it's a pony creator I see. This looks familiar. I think that's like a different pony creator that
Sounds like a game making engine. Like,
maybe. This looks really close to, I mean, like, it just like feels in the style close to a Spirit Wind my friend made me in this like character creator. I'm googling to see if I can find it. What they say it was
Main
called?
Quest Pony Dream Maker. I think that's it because it looks like the icon. So we aren't going to critique the body then, because you didn't draw anything. You just sort of pick and place characters and elements, and you get a
so
thing.
this is a character creator.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's an Aggie. There's an Aggie. Go to the Aggie.
Ah, an Aggie. I can't draw him.
I don't know the last time I went to an Aggie.
The one we did after the stream last time in Impromptu was fun.
Fight the fluff.
Love. Boo-doo-doo-doo.
I think a flamethrower might be the right answer, but it looks like stuff's already on fire. Alright, so let's go back to this picture, though. I highly suggest anyone to hop on that Aggie, though. It's great. They're entertaining. And I hope it's spread everywhere. Much like... No.
So in terms of design with this character, like I feel that there's like not really any coordination between the different colors and parts. Like the body is one color, like the mane is one set of colors, the tail is a different set of colors, the wings a different set of colors. Like really with ponies, like you should try to have some uniformness to them. Like the wings, the base color of the wings where that purple is should like ideally be blue. Since it's like bat wings, they would be like a darker blue, I think, than the main body, and then you can still have that like colored edge on it if you really want to. But maybe have that be like my recommendation would be if you have the mane be a color and then have like a secondary streak color in the mane and tail, you can have like the streak on the wings be that same like secondary main color just to like make them match a little bit. But definitely I would have the mane and tail have the same like color scheme.
Mm-hmm. I was looking at this picture, and the largest complaint I had is because it's so busy with colors, it is very hard to make out much of what's going on. MLB, while being a hilariously colorful show, they actually generally try and keep around 3 to 5 colors per pony. Some are even less than that. There is a 2-colored pony out there. Heck, there's even a 1-colored pony that is just white because it looks like they forgot to put a palette on them. But I digress. I would tone down your palette here. The color spray that has been made, it's fun. Everyone loves making a very colorful character. Go look at the furry community. Boom, colorful characters everywhere.
Sparkle dogs.
It doesn't sparkle dogs. Yes, it doesn't translate well when you only have a few pixels to play with. If this was a larger image, you would be able to create some distinction between the areas that would further lend itself to a hilariously colorful character. But in the case of the pixel art, I would tone it back.
Yeah, there's a reason why a lot of pixel characters are very simply designed. Like also hairstyles are usually very simple. Like there might be like one spike for a hair, or someone will have a ponytail, where it's just all pulled to the side so it doesn't interfere with the face. And of course, because it's not human, it has a bit of a more of a face shape to it. We also kind of, this might just be the generator style, but the muzzle I also feel like loses out. There's just a lot going on in the face area between the hair, the face, and is that a horn? That's another thing. Like, is there a horn there? I can't tell. I know it's suddenly gray. There's, yeah, condensing a design. It's Kiss. Keep it simple. Stupid. Not that you're stupid, but that's just how Kiss goes. And that's okay. It's okay to keep a design simple when you only have a simple palette to work with, when you have a simple amount of pixels to work with, you know?
Yeah. I don't think there's much more we can say on this because it is
we can only really
just pulled
critique
from
the
an app.
color design of it.
All right, let's move on to the next one then. Yeah, it's gonna be this watercolor one. So I would like to say congratulations to I'm a Light Bra. Yeah, that's their name. I'm a Light Bra. You have hit the most upvoted picture on our subreddit in, I'm gonna say at least a month, but probably all year.
Nice.
Yes, it is the most upvoted picture this year, and it places it in. It's not even the top 100. Our subreddit used to get a lot more upvotes, but most upvoted picture this year. Congratulations. Yeah, back to that picture though. Oh my gosh, Reddit, what is wrong with you? Load. There it goes.
It's being a butt.
So I'm a Light Bra. Lo-fi beats you can relax/study to. I hecked up the shadows, but I still think it's worth posting. So good.
Heck, I don't think you hecked them up that bad. I mean, it's watercolor, so I think definitely getting used to getting it cleaner is something to something that gets better over time. And a lot of like waiting and layering and waiting until it's dry and then doing another layer, that usually definitely helps. But I don't think you hecked up that bad. There's some really nice shadows. If anything, I want more shadows, you know? Like the chair could have a darker shadow, or, you know, some of the objects here on the desk, because they have such a harsh light on them, we could get like a shadow that's much deeper over here, and like just having a direct shadow right under there. Just really getting those every little detailed shadow.
Hello.
Can really push something.
Sorry, I had to step away.
That's alright.
I was going to say about this one. I recognize this one from a YouTube radio station.
Yes.
It's probably mentioned in the description.
Yes.
But
Lo-fi.
I didn't get to be here because I had to BRB real quick. Anyway, yes.
I admire their watercoloring abilities because they have successfully filled in areas that I would find very difficult with my watercoloring abilities to do without having it bleed in. Like looking at the little gap between the neck and this the scarf, the hoof and the table, things like that. I usually have a problem with a little bleed over. But dang, you've done incredible.
Yeah.
Like the chair has a really thin outline, so that's quite very well inside the line.
It's like you could almost tell where you waited for it to dry so you could go back in for the shadows, and where you tried to push the shadows while things were still wet.
There is a suggestion I have that's not related to the shadows and lighting, but more to the posing. One of the elements that holds true in the source material is she generally has her hand on the bottom of her chin, and it's to sort of give that relaxed look of just idly doing this endless amount of homework.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest taking the hoof and actually placing it on the bottom of the chin. The pony is a unicorn. She's using her magic to do all the writing anyway. She kind of
Yeah.
doesn't need her
She
hooves
could
there.
have both hooves on their faces.
So we could relax this a bit more if by taking the hoof. And we don't even need to place it so it's curved in, or so it's like the hoof resting on it. We can do the fluffy side of the hoof as opposed to the bony side.
Mm-hmm. It's that extra little detail to get it close to that piece.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I just play around with the hoof under it. Of course, you can't change anything now. It's set in stone. That's
But
the
for
magic's a
future,
traditional.
Speaking of magics and traditional, I would with the magic around the horn, I would probably put like a bit like have I don't know if this was like an afterthought if you realized you were supposed to be using magic or whatever, but I would have like avoided adding color for the window and then like added a lighter shade later, like the same for the mane and horn as well, and maybe around the pen as well, just to because I could see where you sort of added like a blue layer that sort of like tinted everything a little bit, but obviously with the dark the cyan of the window it's very hard to make that take effect. So that might have just been like an oversight, and that's fine. We all do it. And traditional, it's really hard to correct that kind of mistake. But yeah, I would like start just by just like leaving the magic area white, and then like color those areas separately, if that makes sense.
Alternatively, going in with a thicker medium like gesso later, or possibly not watercolor, like gelled inks. You could really make that type of area pop. I know a lot of watercolor artists like to use ink gels to do up the eyes and some minor highlights, just to really go get a sharp popping from it.
Yes, yes.
Or gouache. You could go gouache. Gouache is fun, and it
Gouache.
has an incredible power of layering even lights over darks, just because it's a very thick watercolor. I gotta buy some. It looks fun.
Apparently, I learned this the other day. There's something called gel gouache, and it comes in like a palette that you would watercolors, like a dry palette of watercolors, but they're like gel. So there's like a decent amount of it, and it's wet, and it constantly stays wet because it is gel. But you can still mix it with water to make it thinner. I don't know. It just seemed really cool, like that it's already in a palette that's not in. I don't like tubes. Tubes are messy. They're great, but then you have to take them out and mix it. But it's cool. There's all these new art things to try.
Gel. Oh my gosh, cool. Tempting to order. Excuse me. Just gonna explode over here.
Oh no. So Maze mentioned something about the cat in the window. I do agree. The window is a bit flat, as well as the bookcase. I feel you could use some really simple lines to give us that detail of depth, like I did over here at the bookcase in blue, just kind of giving it a side because of the way we were viewing it. We wouldn't see it straight on. And as for the windowsill, you could also just something. We may not see where the cat's actually laying, but maybe we could see just a little of the wall of the window going all the way on each side. Maybe see one more than other because of the angle we're viewing it at. But just little touches like that can definitely bring more depth to your picture. And also it helps with the composition, because we're kind of at we're doing like a perspective. And if you have everything pointing with the perspective, so basically if I'll draw a little box over here. So the window, say the window is your center part of the perspective, and we have a horizon line that's pretty much on the windowsill. Everything is going to be going towards that window. And because everything is going in this direction, we focus on the main source, which is like the pony's face. It brings us, our eyes bring us into that face, and it gives us like a nice directional pose. But yeah. Otherwise, this is really great. Like, honestly, I love how you used your watercolors. I think you utilized them great, and I want to see more watercolors because I love seeing traditional art. I love it, I love it, love it.
Allie. They
Yeah.
have them on Amazon. Oh no.
What's the brand's name? Because the person I watched that did a review on was like Himi. It's like a pink.
Miya, and it's pink. Oh yeah, Himi. Yeah, Himo.
Oh, yeah, it's the brand they did a review on. They said they're actually pretty decent. They're not like the $3,000, not 3,000, but like you can get watercolors for like $300 a palette. Those are like the really nice pigment ones. But these are good. They're fun and they're usable. They're not like absolutely shitty.
This is 18 colors and comes with a brush set, but the brushes look like crap.
Yeah, I was about to say, apparently the brushes are terrible. She didn't use the brushes in the review. She had her own.
Anyway, yeah, art. Do art things. We're gonna move on to the next one.
Yeah. Oh, and one more quick thing. If we are keeping with the perspective, Maze pointed out, someone in our chat, if you are not here with us now, pointed out that the angle of the bookshelf could also be changed because of the perspective we talked about earlier. So instead of going to the left, it would actually go to the right. And that would just kind of, you can even have some of the books, just that book edge there. Yeah, just a simple little change.
When's your new? I gotta stop. I'm just staring at all the different gouaches I can look at. I'm sorry. I'm now stuck on a one-track mind.
My next big purchase I want to get, because I always want to get different types of paints, but I want to get a set of nice brushes, like actual nice brushes that aren't like, oh, here's $5 for a pack of brushes. That's what I normally do because I don't want to invest in brushes yet. But I want good brushes now.
I picked up a few very nice Winsor Newton brushes, and I don't regret it.
Oh,
They were fun.
yeah.
And then I picked up knockoff Winsor Newton ones, and they're just about the same.
Oh.
For like
I mean,
the price.
Honestly, I heard my one short story time. I promise I won't be a long tangent. My one brother, he actually goes to art school. My brother's friend, sorry. He goes to art school. He's been getting his master's in art, and the biggest advice he's ever given me is like never buy name brand anything. Very few of it's actually worth the cost. So I'm not surprised that knockoffs are just as good.
The only things that I've found that are like inks and that, when you're buying like a Winsor Newton ink, it's going to be better than like a I don't know what, I don't have non-brand ones, but my roommate has a bunch of non-brand inks that he picked off bulk off Amazon, and they're pretty junky. But
from what I can tell as a theme, and this is just my personal experience, the things that tend to be worth the cost are things that actually use pigment. Pigment is the thing that's expensive and what makes an art supply good. The pigment and how it's binded in its whole into the medium. That's the stuff that can be pricey and actually worth the price, because like I said, pigment is fickle and expensive.
that makes sense. So let's do this picture then. Mad Dog 18476 started drawing a few weeks ago. This is one of my favorite OCs so far. I plan to finish the background soonish. Seriously, only a few weeks ago?
Nice.
Have you never drawn anything before? Because you have very clean lines for only a few weeks of drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And Reddit is still borked, so can't go look, see what else they've done.
Dang Reddit. It's very cute.
Yeah.
I like the face. It's a very nice face, honestly.
It's a bamboo alicorn.
Panda corn.
Panda corn. There we go.
That works.
Let's see. I think the biggest thing that, because the face is so nice and I like the eyes and the smile. I mean, we can always give that critique. It's like, oh, give it some cheek bips, but even that's just a choice that you can or can't make, whatever you decide. The thing I do highly suggest changing up is the hair. The hair feels really flat on it. I feel like we could give it more volume. So if let me get a different color. Pink. How about the pink? That works. So if I just twist the canvas to help me out. Just a little more life to the hair, really.
Definitely gonna agree with Maze. The tangent line that is formed on the green on green, smart choice. The tangent line that's formed here that joins with the leg, that has got to be avoided. Tangent lines are evil. What this one has formed basically makes it look like that bamboo is growing out of that hawk. If we were to take the bamboo and even shift it over a few pixels so it no longer follows that same line, it's going to help create the visual distinction. Not possible on traditional, unfortunately, to pixel shift, but for future ones when you're doing that sketch, or the under sketch, which I hope you're using, definitely make sure you're trying to separate those. Neck. So there's the body shape. I'm noticing it's a little awkward, mostly on the line. Oh my gosh, pen. Mostly on the line to the neck. So you've made the neck go like this, but then you've made the body come sharply down. Ponies are like these blobs. Blob's the best way to put it. They don't really have sharp edges. Even their horns are a little bit rounded. My suggestion would be just to take the neck and give it a little curve off towards the back where it comes up to the rump. It's going to help round down some of the pointiness that's happening there. Beyond that, it looks good. Avoid using black. I would suggest using a darker shade of gray for this. Just because you lose the ability to do more levels of darkness for shading, and it doesn't help creating distinction between areas.
And I know pandas are just traditionally black and white, but if you look at drawings of pandas, you'll see that they do actually push it to a gray color. It's all relative, so if you have light colors next to a not black but a dark color, it can look black. It can look that really dark, rich black. And sometimes you can't even put that pure black in there for different effects. But it definitely helps when you're figuring out light and shadow to not have pure black, because it kind of drowns out anything you try.
Maze is saying there's a few perspective issues when it comes to how the legs are sitting and how the wings are sitting. I'm going to agree with them. It's not necessary to change at this point, but do keep in mind when you're doing that under sketch to try and do perspective elements. So if you're doing the hip, I like to draw out the actual circles for where the hip's going to be lining up, and same as the front, because it helps me figure out how the rest of the body is going to be turned between the front legs and the back legs.
Yeah, I think that's all she wrote.
All right then, on to the next picture, which I think is actually our last picture. So remember, as it says on the scrolly across the top, if you got any art, please fire it our way. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. So this one is done by Reddit is down. Your Reddit. There it goes. The Romans love me. I'm no expert, but I drew a thing. You certainly drew a thing.
Yes, he did.
That's the first step it takes to do a thing.
It's very pretty too.
Mm-hmm. Maine looks like it's on fire.
Fire Maine. Maybe that's so expensive. The imagery it's into in book.
Definitely agreeing with Maze here.
Mm-hmm.
This ear is a bizarre creation.
Oh yeah, I was about to talk about that as well. Yeah, I think if you, I understand like if the mane is supposed to be kind of all pulled back to one side, but it sort of looks like the mane is cutting in past the ear, and then just like so it's really hard to figure out like what it's like the ear is like stuck on the side of the head. I would maybe have it like stick out of the part of the mane, or just have like it behind the mane completely. I'm gonna try and draw with the mouse. I don't have a tablet, so it's gonna be difficult.
I believe in you.
It's way too big. Thank you.
Where
Your
are you-
faith is all.
Where are you drawing?
I am not drawing yet. I'm trying to
Okay.
get the color. Um, I'm about to. Here we go. Is that the right size? Okay. You had the main like cut off here or something. You could even join it with this part that's flowing down. Ooh. So then, can I have, what is it? Alt that selects colors. Control. It's control. Okay. So get the bigger. So you can do it in sort of two parts just to create the flow. But yeah, I had the main. Not only am I doing this with the mouse, I am doing this with my left hand.
Why?
I don't know. Sometimes I just like lay back on the computer and use my left hand for the mouse instead of my right. And I have my keyboard on my lap. I just like to make life difficult for myself. It's really hard to see, but I put a line. I'll make it a bit bigger. Well, not that big. So it can. That's still too big, but whatever. You get the idea. Give it some nice flow. But if that, it still sort of feels weird because it feels like the main is like looping around weirdly. So let's actually just have the main go behind like this.
Yeah, honestly, I think the thing is, it's missing the top of the head. Like, we basically have a skull that looks like this,
Yeah.
where it needs, the full,
Oops.
the full circle. So if we do see the ear, just more fluffies painting over. Yeah.
Yeah. You could also make the mane have a little bit more of a disappearing point where the hair begins, if that makes any sense. As we talked about on the channel sometimes before, hair comes from a point. It doesn't just like round on the head like it's draped over. So we can have it sort of a bit here. There we go. That one is
Personally,
what-
I would give like lots of hair to the back of it. Like we have so much hair up front, I would almost like if I just draw over here. There's the head. We're just looking up at the sky. Look at that pretty pone. It's got a horn, a big horn, because alicorns. It's not an alicorn, but alicorns are great to have.
It's got alicorn hair.
So I'll just draw the one ear in, but like, so we have that nice kind of shape gliding out. And then we can almost like,
Yeah, like it's all sort of collected around.
but also
The
like
volume
have
is where
it.
it begins.
It's almost like a weight distribution thing, where it's like you want the front is heavy, so you want the back to be heavy to counterbalance it.
Yeah.
So you almost adding more to that, you'll probably block out that back ear, but it'll also give it a more luxurious feel.
Otherwise, it would feel like there's like a lot more mane on the bottom that's like weighing it down, than is on the top, which is still hard to do because like the hair's got to come from somewhere.
But yeah, it's tip for fluff. Try two things. Try to have fluff not be so pointy. Right now you have a very pointed edge for fluff. And two, try to vary it. I know sometimes I read a thing once, an tutorial. I thought it was a really good suggestion. When doing fluff, try to do it in odd numbers because odd things tend to feel more natural than even. So like for the neck on the fluff, you could do like a small one, maybe a big fluff there, and then a little thing there to bring it back. And if you want to do like big, long, fuzzy fluff on the neck, so it's like there's the neck. That's the same as I did before. My bad. Sorry about that. Snoot.
Have you booped the snoot? Have you booped the snoot?
Why haven't you booped the snoot?
It's important.
Yeah. There's so many different ways to do fluff, but my recommendation, do it in odd numbers and try not to make the tips super pointy. You can even do like round fluff. I know I've seen CPC do, and that's really cute. I'm a big fan of the round fluff. You're like, here's an elbow curve. You can even have fluff that like sticks up, or you know, so many varieties.
All right. Anyone else have any art they'd like critiqued? Any other questions they'd like to ask? If not, we'll be calling this a week at 32 minutes in.
Woo!
Remember, there's the Eggie. Hop on, draw some horse. It'll be a great time. Look at this thing. This thing's amazing. Give it a lick. Tastes just like raisins.
I knew that's where you're going.
Well, you know me too well.
Oh, and Maze pointed out if there's a cutie mark, you know, or not. We don't know. We don't know their story. Maybe they don't have one.
I know my OC doesn't have a cutie mark. I was too lazy to think of one. I just went with a headcanon of when something dies, it loses its cutie mark.
Ooh.
I know. It was an easy excuse. Baba, horse. I wonder if my stuff still works.
Horse.
How do you do new layer? Do you need to log into this thing to do new layer?
No, you can just hit new layer.
Aha! Hey, the pen works. Alright, well, with that, we're going to call it a day. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. And don't forget,
Bye.
go to the Aggie. It's great.
Yeah, join the Aggie. Join the Discard. Have some fun. Woo.
Remember, eat your greens, try out nude mediums, and hug a fluffy object.
Yeah.
Like me in CBC. Or Ali's head.
Bye.
Bye.